And peace, everybody, and how are you today? Are you ready for what is happening between ages 46 and 52 and what is happening in the years 1974 to 1980? If you had great experience before the TV camera, and if you really knew how to do it, and you had the appeal that was necessary and the genuine friendship that you can have through a TV camera, and if you knew that a television station, all the whole television stations and all the networks depended upon advertising revenue, that was their raison d'etre, and if you knew how to produce videos, if you knew how to produce things on tape, if you knew all of those things, what would you do with it? Well, I'll tell you, it all went together in something called Glendora TV ads. I called the director of the New England Macintosh Apple Institute in Westfield, Massachusetts, or maybe it's West Springfield. And I said, you can have 10 ads, 30-second ads, on the NBC television NBC television morning show, in the New York market, including the videotaping, the production, the creativity, and clearing the commercial with the TV station. You can have all of that for $10,000. He was interested. He wanted to know more about it. He didn't seem to want to know more about me because he seemed to know that I was exhibiting all the experience that I had and all these skills for which I could not find a market. And in the mail came that check to Glendora TV ads, $10,000. I specified that it had to come in. I had to be paid up front because that was the only way that I could come in with this low price. And believe me, folks, that's a low price. Anybody else would have charged it anywhere from $100,000 and up. But because I was a one-person operator, I was able to do all these things. What do we have here? We have an afflatus. We have a divine idea. We have a supernatural impulse. And I asked the director to send me the materials that he wanted to use in the commercials. And of course, that would be New England Macintosh apples and a lot of props. And he sent them. I knew how to talk to WBEN Channel 4 in Buffalo TV station and asked them, how much would you cost to make 3 or 4 commercials for me? And the price was reasonable, $300 or $400. And I called WNBC TV, the New York flagship station of the NBC television network in Manhattan, and I asked, how much is the airtime? What's a 30-second ad cost on the Today Show? The price was reasonable. I've forgotten what it was, $300 or $400. And who wouldn't want to do this on the well-known Today Show in the great New York market? Do you realize what the New York market was? It was the 5 boroughs of New York City, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, Staten. It was wealthy Westchester County. It was wealthy Fairfield County, Connecticut. It was western New Jersey, the biggest market there is in the whole United States for $10,000. And the procedure was, I will write the commercial. You tell me what you want said. I will write the commercial. I will clear it with you. Then I will clear it with broadcast standards at WNBC TV. And the woman there and I became very good friends. The censor, so-called. Everything had to be cleared before the TV station would accept it. And the spots ran, and they ran perfectly, and Glendora was in them, and it was cheerful, and I insisted that there be a joke in every commercial. And Glendora got nicknamed around the area as the happy lady. Then what happened?
57th Street?
Oh, yes. Where did I live? 57th Street at the Park Vendôme. I rented a room there. And, of course, I was still going back and forth to Buffalo. And I maintained my enrollment at the State University of New York at Buffalo. I did not want to go to classes. I did not want to become a candidate for a degree, even though I was a graduate student. I went into independent study, and all that means is that a professor takes you on, you do whatever studying you want, and you show it to the professor, and if he approves it, then you're okay. Well, my professor was Dr. Goldberg. I was okay. I continue to work on it in my spare time. Thanks for that prompt. What else do you have?
Worthington Foods?
In the meantime, I'm rescuing cats, okay? And in the meantime, I'm a vegan. And it bothers me that cats are acting like carnivores. So I had to find a way to feed a cat vegan. Well, as impossible as that may seem to you, it turned out to be easy. A company named Worthington Foods made meatless meats, meatless hamburger, meatless pork chops, meatless hot dogs, meatless sausages, and they were delicious. Was that enough to take care of the kitty cat? Did the kitty cats like those? No. We found out that the secret was nutritional yeast. You had to spread nutritional yeast on that, and then they would eat and eat and eat and eat. So that problem was solved. Well, in doing that, I became a fan of Worthington Foods Vegelinks. It was a vegetarian hot dog. And so I approached the owner of Worthington Foods, and I said, I can get you 10 ads on the Today Show in the great and wonderful New York market, including the videotaping and the writing and the production and everything else, for $10,000. Come out and see us. So Franklin and Glendora and her mother piled into the car and went out to Worthington, Ohio, just below Columbus, Ohio, and we presented our plan, and we came home with a $10,000 check. And Glendora was in that commercial, and there was a joke in that commercial. Where were we living then? In Buffalo, we were moved from Upper Linwood Avenue over to Sanders Road, the very last street in very last street in the urban Buffalo. Kenmore was the next street up. I got the idea, go to trade shows and meet these manufacturers and present Glendora TV ads to them. Well, that happened, and Glendora made a contact with 3M, and 3M had a copy machine. a home copy machine that you could carry under your arm. It made the copies through special paper. It wasn't through ordinary paper. And I liked that machine, and I was enthusiastic, and I was so enthusiastic that 3M gave me $10,000 to advertise this copy machine. But this was in the Buffalo market. And then what, honey?
Shoe kitty.
Oh, I was over at the Seventh-day Adventist Church to buy. By the way, the Seventh-day Adventist Church was commanded by the main church, by the main office, to have a store in the back of the church, a store that sold these vegetarian products. So I was there buying the vegan food for the kitties, and there was a little kitten. Oh, and I said to my mother, you see that great big beautiful church there? She said, yes. And I said, do you know that nobody goes to that church on Sunday morning? And my mother was horrified. And then I told her it was a Seventh-day Adventist church and they went on Saturday. And there was a kitty out on the sidewalk, and this kitty was hungry, and this kitty was rubbing up against this woman that we were talking to, up against the feet, the ankles of this woman. And the woman kept saying, shoe kitty, shoe kitty, shoe kitty. And it looked as if, to me, as though the kitty was looking up and saying, which shoe? Well, things progressed very nicely. The Apple people sent another $7,000 because they thought it was a good idea for Glendora to go to the different apple farmers throughout Massachusetts and New York State, including Gould's Apple Orchard, which is now defunct. That's very sad. And to stand at the side of an apple grower, and he would say, apples are in. And that was to get people to buy the fresh New England Macintosh apples. Something else went through my mind. What was it? What is it, dear?
New Jersey pizzas.
Oh, yes. Another one. Doug Z., a peach grower in New Jersey. He bought the package for $10,000. And the money was really pouring in. And it was during that time on Sanders Road that Glendora spent 15 minutes a day writing a book. How can you write a book on 15 minutes a day? Well, it works. And I recommend it to you. If you have a big creative job to do, give it 15 minutes a day. What was the name of the book? The Glendora Happy Book.
Apple computer?
Did you say something about a computer?
Apple computer?
Apple computer. Oh, yes, I have an incident to tell you about that. And it was the Glendora Happy Book. I wanted people to be happy. I was happy, and I knew how to talk about it. Yes. At a trade show in New York City, Manhattan, there was a man at a booth. It was before the trade show opened. I got there early, and I went by this man, and he had all kinds of electronic equipment on display. And he had a huge barrel of apples. And I'm wondering if that is early. This is early in the computer period. Early. And I was wondering if that was Stephen Jobs. You suppose it was? I should have stopped and seen, right? Okay.
Channel 5, Bohack.
What'd you say, honey?
Channel 5, Bohack.
Well, I had another idea. And this was a very good idea. It was called Glendora, A Cheerful Look at the News. The news is so somber and it's so seldom that they ever have any good news. I thought it would be good to have 5 minutes of comic relief. And so I would tell 5 jokes and do a commercial. And I tried to peddle that idea. And lo and behold, I went to Al, who was a sales manager at Channel 5 Metro Media. Now, this was later bought by Fox. It became the flagship station of the Fox television network. And he bought it for a client of his, Bohack, Bohack supermarkets. And he bought it for 13 weeks, 5 days a week. And I would go up to Channel 5 up on 63rd Street and 3rd Avenue. And I would walk into the studio, and they gave me a chair to sit in and a little table. And I would look into that camera and I would tell these jokes. And then I would do a pitch. And one day, and they didn't give me a separate studio. I had to do it in the very same studio as Bill Boggs was doing his television interview show. And he had very famous guests on there. And one of them was Tony Randall. And Tony Randall, after the show was finished, he was singing the song that it was going to do in his new picture, in his new movie. Well, that was a thrill. That was thrilling. How much was that a week? Oh, about $500 a week or something like that. All these checks are coming in from all over the place. The bank account is swelling. And in my commercials, I did a pitch and a joke in 29 seconds. That was an art. That was something to obtain. And it was quite effective. Do you have anything else for us here?
Gym teacher, your joke.
Oh, you want jokes?
Yeah.
Okay, here's some jokes. A woman was at the supermarket checking out, and behind her was the next person to check out, and this man spoke to the woman, and she looked bewildered. She couldn't quite remember where she'd seen him before. And he says, "Don't you remember me? I'm your daughter's gym teacher." She says, "Oh, I didn't recognize you with all your clothes on."
Heaven.
What, dear?
Heaven. Grandson in hooky.
A boy played hooky from school. And that afternoon, he and his granddad are sitting on the front porch. And the school bus comes into view, and it's letting the children off from school to their homes. And the granddad said to the grandson, "You'd better run into the house. You played hooky. You don't want all those people to see you out today, well." And the grandson said, "You're the one who has to run into the house and hide. I told him you had passed away."
Heaven.
What, dear?
Going to heaven. Heaven.
Oh, a man went to heaven and he wanted to get in. And St. Peter says, "Well, what makes you think you should get into heaven?" The man says, "Well, back on earth I did all kinds of good things." And St. Peter says, "Yeah, for instance." Well, the man says there was this motorcycle gang and they were beating up on this group of people. And I went over to the leader of that motorcycle gang. Thank you, little temperature clock. I went over to that motorcycle gang leader, and I said, "You can't beat up on these people this way." And I kicked him in the shin. St. Peter said, "That's not bad. How long ago did that happen?" And the man said, 5 minutes.
1980 Lincoln.
The money was coming in, and we had a 1980 Dodge. and a 1956 Dodge. And I was in the garage with one of those cars almost every day, getting repaired. I said, Franklin, can't we buy a brand new car and then we don't have to go to the garage every day to get a repair? So we wanted a Lincoln motor car. And how did that happen? I called my friend Bob Russo, who was a sales manager at WBEN Radio, and I bought quite a few spots from him before. And I said, Bob, we want to rent a Lincoln motor car to see if we like it. And I said, we need a credit card, because we didn't believe in credit cards. And he says he was big cigar smoking. There's no need of you to have a credit card. He says, I'll pick you up at 2 o'clock this afternoon. He picked us up at 2 o'clock and took us to the Western New York dealership office for the Ford Motor Company. And the Ford Motor Company man in charge of all of Western New York took us to a parking lot. There was a 1980 Lincoln, and the Ford Motor man says, here's the keys. Keep it as long as you want. That was the year of the Lincoln Continental Mark VI town car. It was not only a town car, it was a Continental, and it was a Mark VI. And it was the first year of the luxury Mark, first year of the four-door Mark. It had 6 speakers of sound. It had a trip log that told you when you were going to arrive at your trip. It had all these computer things on it. It was a magnificent car with velvet upholstery and carpets this thick. You never saw such a car. The 1980 Lincoln Continental Mark VI. And it was maroon. They made very few of them that year. And this is the year 1980. The year is 1979 that we're looking at. 1980, we bought it. And it was how much? It was only $18,000. So we put down the cash for it. We brought it home. We put it in the garage. The next day it wouldn't start. That was because the opera light had been left on all night. You had another joke there. I didn't get the prompt on.
Oh, you got all 3 of them. You got them. YWCA.
Oh, yes. From the Park Vendôme on 57th Street and 7th Avenue, very close to the CBS television studio for the whole network of CBS. I would stay at the YWCA. And I tried interviewing people on the sidewalk. And these interviews were superb. The people were good, the jokes were good, the spirit was good. And these are New Yorkers on a Manhattan sidewalk. But could I find a sponsor for that? Could I find a TV station for that? No. Let's see what else is going.
Veganism.
Please, what?
Veganism.
Yeah, we covered that very well.
My mother.
My mother was nice and helpful and a comfort to me. And she's now in her 70s, coming into her 80s. But it was good that she was with me. My brother wanted to put her in a nursing home. I have no way will I let my mother go into a nursing home. No way. And sit there out there in the corridors and hope somebody would speak to her. I would not have that. My mother was staying with me where I could watch her and help her. And my mother was good company, always. Next, honey.
Cable TV?
Oh, and all this time I was on Manhattan Cable TV, owned by Time. And that's when Time merged with Warner Brothers Pictures and became Time Warner. And it was Manhattan Cable TV. And this is an interesting thing, folks. Manhattan Cable TV. Manhattan is so big that they split the cable TV franchise between